This week's episode of The Whole Rabbit was brought to you by Abracadabra, Gabriel Bellantine, Benjamin Turpin, and Daniel Ekstrom, who, as a jackrabbit, will get to choose a show topic for us to do. Thank you, Abracadabra, Gabriel Bellantine, Benjamin Turpin, and Daniel Ekstrom. It's with the unbelievably generous support of listeners like you that we get to keep giving the uninitiated dangerous knowledge like how to vampirically slurp the vital essences of human beings as if they were a giant Capri Sun. If you'd like to help us keep pounding away at our keyboards every week without molestation from corporate sponsorship, please consider becoming a subscriber at www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where access to our Discord server, extended shows, and a big 5x5 sticker of our cover art will only cost you $5. We love talking to listeners on our Discord, so don't miss out. Higher subscription levels offer show notes, monthly tarot readings, a military spec patch, and even the ability to select a show topic. On this week's show, we pull back the sarcophagus to gently extract our Grampire's playbook to reveal the strategies, secrets, and methods of becoming a vampire, and how such creatures of the night or workplace feed on the biological energy and spiritual essence of other human beings. We explore the profile of the psychic vampire, bloodthirsty ghosts, the role of the vampire's assistant, and finally, how to have vampire sex. In the extended show, we discuss the optimal sleeping arrangements for real-life vampires, poop-hungry mummies, the occult powers a vampire may possess, and an extensive guide on how to feed on the energy of innocent victims from the comfort of your own cozy coffin. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Kanye said the wrong thing. I always said that. He fucking said some stupid shit. Like, you don't say
Dude,
it.
it's Kanye, and his name is Yee, by the way.
Well, I'm not going to get the
Use his
names
correct
right.
name and
Go.
pronouns.
My blood pressure went up when I saw the White Lives Matter shirts.
From that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but everyone's life matters.
It's so funny, though. Like, I can laugh at that.
He lost his bank account. Like, JP Morgan won't do... Wait, who is it? Is it JP Morgan or somebody else?
Yeah,
Anyway,
JP Morgan, the ones who have the...
His bank banned him, but JP Morgan did fucking contracts with Nazis.
And their logo is a swastika.
Yeah.
It's just Thor's hammer.
I kind of want a shirt that says all living things are matter.
Oh, I would fucking buy that.
It's still going to get people mad.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just tell you about the culturally diverse rainbow of vampires from around the globe with smooth armpits, glowing anuses, owl feet, and long iron teeth. Nay, we explain in erudite and sophisticated academic detail how to become one yourself. Learn about the arsenal of tools they use and formally ask, so, you want to be a vampire? I'm your host, Hack Rabbit, the Bad Bunny himself. I'm joined this week by the Corgi Queen of the Crypt, Mari-sama. The Ingester of Essence, Malachor 5.
I teach how to use the whole buffalo.
And the tantalizingly theological Tomb Raider, Heka Astra.
Hello. I want to suck your blood. My vampire voice.
That's great.
I guess 'tis the season for consuming sweets and
Blood.
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 Watch out for all that free drugs they're putting in your kids' candy, too. Make sure they don't get any.
Yeah, because that actually happens. Like, any druggie would give free candy to, like, random strangers.
You know how expensive that would be?
And I mean the expensive kind of candy.
It would have to be the same people that were leaving the guns in the hood.
I mean, even if you were going to put razor blades in candy, you know how expensive that would be to buy all those razor
not worth
blades?
it.
Time consuming to put all them in the candy.
Nobody's got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I mean, because, yeah, eventually you run out of time.
On a long enough timeline, the survivability of everyone drops to zero.
Unless you're a vampire. So are we going to talk about vampire magic this episode?
I think more so than the previous episode.
Like, how they do what they do and why they do what they do.
A manual for becoming a vampire, if you so choose.
Possibly without having to die in the process. Well, I think most definitely without having to die in the process.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
There seems to be like at least in my eyes, a difference between what we understand as vampires after Dracula and before Dracula, and then like before that even, which is a little bit of what we're going to be talking about in this episode, about some soul magic. You know, if you want to fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament, you know, you kind of got to put your soul on the line.
The before times.
Yeah, you know, when people were talking very cryptic, and now we understand them as modern religions, perhaps.
Malachor is suggesting the path of the magician and the path of the vampire are intimately related.
I absolutely think so, because what is the ultimate magic trick?
Finding parking in Long Beach.
I think the ultimate magic trick is transcending death, retaining your memories, and more or less upholding the law or the idea of Ma'at in the afterlife forever and ever and ever.
Which is an interesting premise, because can you be a vampire and uphold Ma'at, which is justice, truth, etc., or must you in fact be a demonic, blood-sucking predator that ultimately just weeps in their coffin because they made it too small because they're not good at carpentry?
I think you can balance it.
Yeah, but it's interesting also that they don't have a reflection. They cannot look themselves in the eyes. And then also when the sun comes out, you know how the sun illuminates everything and shines truth on the matter. Apparently that burns them to death.
That's if they don't have a home. Do you know what to call a homeless vampire?
A trampire. What do you call a really old vampire daddy?
Well, that's my grandpire.
I thought I'd be able to find studies supporting the idea that old people live longer when young people are around. I honestly couldn't, and I've looked before. Nonetheless, nearly everybody is familiar with the phenomena of feeling drained by specific people. Whether it's a person at work or Thanksgiving dinner, we all know that person who leaves us exhausted just by being around. Is it possible vampires really do walk among us?
Yeah.
I would argue yes.
Yeah, that's why I confidently say, in regards to like supernatural or paranormal cryptids or entities and such, at the top of the list of what I believe in are vampires in one way, not directly how we understand them after Dracula.
Yeah, and sucking of blood is one thing, but sucking life energy is a whole nother ballgame. And anybody can do that, in my opinion.
I think if it's energy, it can be fed on. It doesn't matter what form it takes.
Life force is like a traditional way to refer to it, but it could also refer to your psychic energy. And that brings me to the topic of the energy vampire who technically works through psychic means traditionally, but it can also be like the vibe or the energy of the situation. So I looked this up on Wikipedia, and the definition is a psychic vampire or energy vampire is a creature in folklore said to feed off the life force of other living creatures. The term can also be used to describe a person who gets increased energy around other people, but leaves those other people exhausted or drained of energy. I'm pretty familiar with this personally. I'd argue that an energy vampire or a psychic vampire would be more of like an attention whore, like somebody who saps energy, whether it be negative or positive.
Like my Sheba?
Probably, but he's more of a positive attention whore, I think, because he's so dang cute.
He's like,
Pay attention to me.
I mean, all of us know somebody who is either too difficult to be around or talk to over long periods of time, whether it be gaining sympathy or people to feel sorry for them, or they're overly exuberant and energetic to the point where it's just intolerable.
It definitely is a balance between those two ideas of like, oh, you're always in that negative mood, like complaining about something, or you're always too goddamn loud, man. Like, shut the fuck up, you know, and I can't be around this. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, and they could even be into a subject so much that you don't really care about, but you don't want to say, hey, I don't care. So they could bore you to death or anger you. Like if they're overly combative or negative about things that happen to them and they want you to get angry with them, that's a kind of another form of it. Or they tease you by like spinning tales and trying to be more fantasy oriented about their goals. Like they talk themselves up a lot or make big grandiose plans, and they want you to invest your energy in that, but still you're spending your time on them, you're spending your energy on them. That's a way that they feed and they feel better about themselves or their own ego.
I knew somebody at parties where if he could tell the other person was checking out and didn't care about the story, he would just keep telling the story. And I'd be like, dude, you can't do that. You need to shut up.
Oh no, they enjoy it.
It's awful.
Yeah, and then they're offended when you don't really invest, which is the worst.
Yeah, that's pretty. I'm just like
They're
sitting
like,
here.
"Are you listening?"
I'm getting hot just sitting here thinking about that.
Ugh.
It sounds almost like the person that Luke knew is kind of one of those Schadenfreude people. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
taking pleasure from other people's pain. It's just like, oh, I just like making people uncomfortable, so I'm just going to keep talking.
Where they can't detach and they're showing every social signal that they're trying to, but they just can't. And any normal person would let them go, but they just keep going.
I think some people do it for the sheer joy of putting someone in discomfort, to be honest.
I think there's definitely a percentage of people who do it for that reason. Yes.
As discussed in our Satan Rising series, it was the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, who popularized the term psychic vampire, making it a household term. In the 1969 Satanic Bible, it says, "Is there a person you often call or visit, even though you really don't want to, because you know you'll feel guilty if you don't?"
Yes.
Do you find yourself constantly doing favors for one who doesn't come forward and ask, but hints?
Yes.
Often the psychic vampire will use reverse psychology, saying, "Oh, I couldn't ask that of you," and you, in return, insist upon doing it. The psychic vampire never demands anything of you. That would be far too presumptuous. They simply let their wishes be known in subtle ways, which prevent them from being considered pests. They wouldn't think of imposing, and they're always content and willingly accept their lot without the slightest complaint. Outwardly, their sins are not of commission, but of omission. It's what they don't say, not what they do say, that makes you feel that you must account to them. They are much too crafty to make overt demands upon you because they know you would resent it and would have a tangible and legitimate reason for denying them. A large percentage of these people have special attributes, which make their dependence upon you more feasible and much more effective. Many psychic vampires are invalids, or pretend to be, or are mentally or emotionally disturbed.
How do you know my sister?
Oh, whoa.
Zinger.
It's just people, because in some of those words, it's like, when you're asking somebody very sincerely, you're practicing some of this art in being a little bit of like, oh, like, like it's so hard for me to do this on my own, like blah blah blah. There's ways around it, and everybody does it. Like, that's why I'm one to say, like, I really do believe in vampires, especially these kind, because everybody practices this art.
Yeah, I can admit, I can be modest and admit that happens sometimes, but only when I really, really need sympathy do I ask for it. And I'm very specific about what I ask for. And not only that, I do get overexcited, and sometimes I hype people up, and I probably shouldn't.
Like, to kind of bring a big idea very bluntly and down to earth, I think becoming a vampire, becoming an immortal is part of the reason why we're here. And I'm just going to say that and leave it there. So we just have to learn how to carry that power and how we ask for things. And, that's what we're going to talk about a bit, because it is a problem when you start like not directly stating your will and for others
relying on this sapping behavior.
One of our sources I'll be using for this episode a lot is A.W. Dre's Nox and Furnace, which is a how-to manual for the would-be vampire. There's a section in Nox and Furnace about being a false brother, where you find someone with a really bad problem, and it has to be like an all-consuming problem, not a little one, and you never address that problem, but you become close friends with them. And anytime the problem comes up, you let it rest and you don't talk about it. And then once you're really good friends, you alternate between exposing them to the source of their problem and then later helping them break away from it. And you go back and forth with them until they're completely drained of all their psychic energy.
I know someone like this too.
It's real.
Which brings us to the question, how does this actually work on a biological level?
Well, it's scientifically proven that people with an active social life have a 70% lower chance of suffering from cognitive deterioration. So why is that? Well, humans are social creatures by nature, right? And we have a need to be motivated by others, which is a bit like social vampirism. By being social, interactions with others tends to motivate cognitive functions. Like when you go to a rave and you start to get more and more pumped. Obviously, introverted people have a more difficult time with social interactions. But for the same reason that many people are energized by socializing, it's also possible for socializing activities to become draining, which is what we're talking about. For many sensitive or introverted people, socializing can feel draining or daunting in and of itself. I mean, that's how it is for me. So it's also been scientifically proven that energy vampires do, in fact, exist. Due to natural selection, our brains are actually wired to see contact with others as both positive and necessary, so much so that our brains release oxytocin when we do connect and interact in sociable ways. When we aren't able to make that connection and instead have an interaction that feels alienating, hostile, or suspicious, our brain releases cortisol instead. So this is the hormone that's released when a threat is suspected, and if we're in prolonged interactions that cause us to release cortisol, we can end up feeling very tired because our brain chemistry is pumping out the hormones that we need to deal with stress for an extended period of time, but we're not physically using that to do something like physically running away. At the same time, we also have mirror neurons, which is a system that registers and processes the body language and facial expressions of others. But this system also tends to adopt and reflect what it takes in, providing a direct internal experience of other people's actions and emotions. So this is the biological basis for empathy. So for those who are highly empathic, they'd most likely have a highly tuned mirror neuron system. So you know when you interact with someone and it's just really energetically draining, this is what's actually happening in your brain and your body at those times. So if someone is really fake and demanding of attention, it will set off your production of cortisol, and they most likely do it for an oxytocin release.
Those bastards. These blood-sucking motherfuckers.
And then, so then on the other hand, very negative people can cause our mirror neuron system to quite literally be dragged down with them because, as the saying goes, misery loves company, right?
It's contagious.
But even those miserable people probably feel compelled to do it for that same oxytocin release that the vibrant attention whore does it for. One University of Washington study by William Phelps and Terrence Mitchell, it was published in Research in Organizational Behavior, and it looks into a workplace scenario where they referred to these kinds of people as bad apples, like a virus to their teams, which can upset or spoil the whole apple cart. So Phelps was inspired to do this study after he heard about his wife's workplace. She had said that one of the coworkers made everyone else there miserable, and that coworker got sick and was away for a few days, and during those days the office felt lively and friendly, only to return to being totally miserable when the coworker returned to work.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Hey guys, there's some really shitty people out there that can drain you. Look.
Dude was probably like, oh my God, my wife won't stop. Maybe there really is something to this. She just won't stop talking about how awful this dude is.
Dude, just go live up in a monastery.
So Phelps' study looked into how and why a single negative member of a team can influence the whole group in a detrimental way. And first, they analyzed 24 other studies regarding team interactions and how one bad teammate can negatively affect the team. Then they conducted their own research. So they reviewed 50 small work groups of 5 to 15 people and their environments, because smaller groups also usually require more interactions among the members, right? And they found that teams with an irresponsible or disagreeable member were more likely to have conflict, refuse to cooperate with each other, and generally just communicated and performed poorly. So yeah, misery really does love company.
So if you're a small business, hiring just one of these bad apples can drag down your entire company, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it can ruin you.
Yeah, over time, definitely. Hecka's brought up some really good points in proving that like biologically, chemically in our bodies, others have the capability to drain you of that capability to have the energy to probably compete at a competitive level or, survival stuff.
Even experience life, because if you don't have oxytocin, everything feels horrible. Same thing with dopamine, serotonin. If they're draining you and putting too much cortisol into you, you're done.
I think you could probably exploit this if you were like a professional Olympic athlete in the locker room, right before a competition. You could probably just totally drain the other people in the way you interact with them.
It's cheat codes. It's like you want to be immortal, while you have to learn that cheat code first on how to use people. So it's almost like you can look at others. Like if you're a vampire, Big Daddy vampire, you can almost look at other people like objects, like physical objects, almost like slaves, especially in, Vampire the Masquerade. You can use people that are still alive as, your little pawns. So if that isn't proof enough that something like a human can be a vampire, it even factors into, manufactured products, especially like a cell phone or...
Cars are vampires. They run on blood.
I'd say it's directly Gaia's blood.
I think you need to name your car. I really do. It's like naming a demon. Like, you can't have any power over anything if you can't even name it. Name your car, then it serves you.
To me, it seems that everything on our phone and our computer is an energy vampire, like directly. It's it's electricity, but it's also like physically capable of having this interaction with our bodies directly. Electricity itself, to even listen to this podcast, where does that come from? And you follow this bill of who's going to pay this electricity bill. Well, what does that translate to? Follow that chain all the way to the life forms in the river that is the dam that powers you. There's microbial life form there that you may not feel the same way like I do, but they're paying the bill. They're paying. You're a vampire off of that energy. It's stuff that's been in motion for billions of years. You're at the tail end of this. We owe so much money. We just keep sucking and sucking. I think we're getting to a point where we're learning how to feed in more dynamic ways and draining differently than we were before.
I mean, what animal doesn't live off the sustenance of another life form?
One of our favorite topics on the show, we haven't revisited in a year or more, is The Shining, which we continue to explain, is a story of colonial vampirism perpetrated against native civilization, whose blood serves as fuel for the modern world, and explores how this brand of evil resonates at every conceivable scale of society, from the individual to the family to the national scale. So mythology and folklore aside, vampirism is real.
And as I said in the previous episode and in this one, I really am into vampirism. There's some works of art, some literature that I've picked up, and they all talk about the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Initiation into the Hermetics by Franz Barden, and the Psychic Vampire Codex, a manual of magic and energy work by Michelle Bellinger. They give a pretty good modern interpretation of what a quote-unquote real vampire is, and that you can practice day to day. It is silly at some times, but it's worded in a way that's like, well, that is actually a magical application. Franz Barden is actually talking about them in a little bit of a negative context. As I'll get into a little bit later, he say there is a history, a hermetic history, a magical history of it that was a big secret. It's exclusive to certain groups of people, and that the art is lost. But I guess this is now where we're going to start talking on a different level of discussion.
How to become a vampire.
Right. It's not just getting bit on the neck and getting your blood drained and drinking some more blood.
Aw, man.
Vampires are immortal beings, understanding how to not experience the second death. For starters, or for those who haven't died once before, the first death is the physical body. The second death is the astral body.
So, in your terminology, a vampire is a skilled user of subtle energies who's accomplished the immortality of their astral body after death of the physical body? Is that what you're saying?
For some, yes. And for individuals who practice magic, like Hermetic magic, Kabbalah, there's Eastern practices that involve meditation and, working in the subtle energy field. I think that this state can be achieved in life, so not always after death, and that will start to give you power, vampiric powers, I guess we're calling them, and that can be kind of spooky to others, because then you have all these followers, you don't have to work. It seems like you are going to live forever if this keeps up. One might think, is vampirism permanent? And I don't think it is, in my opinion, because we have this perception of a vampire, especially how I was just talking, that they're physically going to live forever, but that isn't the magic trick, because an energy vampire especially is actually a fragile state to maintain, and it's broken very easily by those who know the basics of magic, who are physically manifested. And this is in regards to talking about an actual mage and an actual vampire. That is in regards to the Hermetic arts or Kabbalah or magic, Eastern traditions of energy work. They are very well in tune with this stuff in the East. They just have different terms. And like I said, the ultimate magic trick is transcending death. So a true vampire must be a mage as well, and probably one who spent a long time learning magic. And anyone who reaches the point of, cheating death, they must know a little bit of this truth that we all kind of collectively agree is considered the high magic or magic in general. They know the secrets.
To play devil's advocate, let's use two well-known examples we've discussed on the show. According to the lore of Thelema, Aleister Crowley was a mage who channeled the Book of the Law by virtue of contact with Ankh Nakansu, a former human interacting with Crowley by virtue of his astral body. So according to your logic, the Book of the Law was written by a vampire. Even the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn has inner plane contact, so to speak. And this is supposedly directed by the Great White Brotherhood, who are embodied only astrally. So also by your definition, the whole occult and Hermetic school is basically run by disembodied vampires. And if this is the case, I should think that a mage would not be as powerful as said vampires, at least in this instance.
Well, if they're physically manifested and they are at the same magical aptitude as said dead person, then they in fact can destroy the energy subtle body of their former homie, I guess. If
That
they wanted
makes
to.
sense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you really are at par, at parity, then it's a no-gamer. Mages win every time.
It kind of makes me think of like a cross class, like a mage cross class with a vampire, just max level.
And I think that's
versus like max level mage.
I think that's Crowley's whole thing. Like, this is the new Aeon. Like, I'm taking this, and here it is. I'm the one now. I'm Daddy Vampire now. That's kind of why I am comfortable saying we all, like, if you're a magician, you're a vampire because, yes, Luke, to answer your question, yes, I do believe the Book of the Law was written by a vampire and a mage together, straight up. So how did he use his power? To talk about myself, at least, in writing my notes for last week's episode, which was also on vampires, I ended up regurgitating a lot of my own personal life experiences and reflecting on them and reflecting on what choices I made and if those choices were my own, if they were good ones, because I was kind of like weeding out, like, is there any vampire left in my life? You know, do I got to go slay them, whether they're dead or not? I'm just figuratively saying that in terms of my own shadow work. So a lot of what I want to say in this episode is how I realized my path and how I changed my own thinking. I'm trying to talk as general as I can. I'm about to be 30. My return to Saturn is over. I'm alive, made it past the 27 club, but I've also practiced meditation and, hermetic magic. So I've learned how to, kind of do things magically, so to speak. And maybe I've used this knowledge to, at least in my belief, make heaven work for me and make something happen in my favor. And I do strike deals symbolically in this aspect where I do give in return. I will pay a price. I will give something. I will offer or sacrifice if I have to, if I feel that it makes sense. That's my own practice. But, and I'm getting to a bigger point here because I'm talking about the vampiric powers. So together as a population, we do make an imprint on like this astral permanent record, so to speak, that in the East, they call it the Akashic record. And it's like a library of all things we think of, our dreams, desires, even all the things that did manifest, that are tangible, not like our dreams or our thoughts. Actual things as well are there. It's kind of like upon pulling books from that library that you're able to realize that we have power, because that's one of the books is that like, hey, you can do magic. And I also kind of realized the responsibility of my actions and my thoughts. And as I guess I leveled up and I felt like a true mage, like a top level one, you kind of realize that your thoughts and all your actions thus become important. And this is touching upon the abyss a little bit, because you think that everything kind of coming in your path is something that you got to interact with and work with and use energy to function around it. And that's the magician's art, is it not? To like have things appear or not appear out of nothing. So it's like, what do you want to really do with that knowledge that you can change things? To loosely quote some hermetic axiom, never dwell on anything you do not want to manifest. No consideration should we see in its motion. That's loosely based off of something Franz Barton said in his book. We just don't put what you don't want in the ether, because it can come around and come back to you. And if you learn how to control your thoughts and our feelings and our emotions and not just react all the time, you can achieve different states. I don't want to talk about it too much, because if you just react to it, you might unintentionally make an Akashic or an astral imprint that's going to forever stain the world, because you're getting powerful, right? You're going to become like Crowley maybe and write a book that's going to blow everybody's mind. So you got to be kind of careful. You don't want to come off like that unless you do, which is fine too.
I had a really hard time with this in the past because I have obsessive compulsive disorder, and it often includes intrusive thoughts, and they can be like pretty horrible things. So that's the kind of stuff that my brain would come up with, is stuff that I do not want to manifest. It's something that I think for some individuals, it's a much more difficult task to undertake. Like learning to control your thoughts, learning to be like, no, I'm not going to give any energy to that. I'm going to like understand that that's not what's going on and that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, like nip it in the bud. A lot of people use this excuse, oh, I got to get it out of my system. I just have to express it some way. It's like the fact that you express it, whether it be physical or mental, is going to affect the records and thereby affect your own personal life and what manifests for you.
Yeah, I think Melkor put it very eloquently, like that's how this works. And if you practice, you can control your own thoughts and you can change how you manifest things. And the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Right. So if we think about that consciousness that's constantly reactive, take the physical body, remove it. They're dead. And in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, if you're not like focused, you're gonna get distracted and like react and do perhaps do the wrong thing and get sucked into all the other rebirth cycle, and come back into this.
Yeah, it's like going out into the tide and being drawn back into the deep water.
So when we lose our physical function, working in this subtle body, in the astral state, meditating and stuff, we can perhaps get used to it so that when it's going to feel like meditation, apparently. That's what the Buddhists say. That's what magicians say. It's going to just go astral. And if you're not trained in that, you're going to freak out and you're going to just astrally react, and then you're probably going to just dissipate. And the powers are going to just use you and put you back in. But if you can see your line out because you're focused and you already know what's going on because you've been meditating in the monastery for 35 years and eating nothing but like good shit and whatever, right? Doing yoga. That's the difference of an average person who has got like all the drama of work and being on time and this and that and kids, and it can be stressful to people who don't have things together. So average person versus what we would call, I guess, a true mage, which is somebody who's ready to die. And like, I'm not going to die though. Like, I'm going to just like blast through all that. And like, I've already died, so to speak. So at that point, all of our passions and our virtues, we got to be like little innocent magic little babies, because we can fuck up other people's lives. We mages can be the best leaders and also the fucking like the destroyers of the whole planet. I have no interest in any of that. I just want to die and like kind of go. But innocent people who aren't involved in this state of mind, they shouldn't have to pay the price on the other side for other people's mistakes.
So what you're talking about is ethical vampirism.
A little bit, because like I want to remove the negative connotation away from the soul arts. You got to just be in control. Like, you got to be a vampire regardless. You got to use people. People are going to use you. It's just the law of the land. So do it right. Don't be, and especially if you're a mage, like especially if you know these things, like, because when you start just falling for the trap and you're using your powers to just continue the suffering and continue trapping people in the rebirth cycle, and we don't do it for Jesus points. We do it because we know, we have knowledge that this isn't the whole thing to keep coming back into this reality. That's basically the point, is be a good person if you're going to be a vampire.
Balance and flow.
You're dead. Don't be upset about it. Don't react. There's just like unintentionally good people in the world. And I don't think they're hungry on the other side. And when they leave, they're not going to like suck the life force of the living. Because, a mage with ill intention gets hungry, especially upon death, I'd assume, because they know the arts and they're like, oh, well, I can still exist if I, just go and do that, the dark black magic. So, when you're hungry, that's essentially evil, because that is the true death, because you can get hungry over there on the other side, apparently. You want to be good so that when you die, people love you. They're gonna honor your name and naturally give you offerings and leave you good stuff, so that you don't just go hungry and wander around naked in the afterlife. Just don't die an evil person, and be hungry. Make sure you're taken care of. Be good in life.
Don't be a dick, but still eat well.
You got to take care of yourself after death, and you do that by having a good heart in this life. That's just what makes sense to me. What I'm saying is, you're going to be hungry on the other side, because truthfully, in this state, we're going to need to feed, like I said, and I guess the difference is preference here. You're worrying more about preference than starving on the other side. And preference is not only mastery over the environment, but at the point of like beyond death and hunger is eliminated, it becomes the capability to discern what will bind us or set us free. You could at any time just be at peace in the afterlife and say, you will refuse the offerings. I'm ready to go now, because you are a good person. You're not hungry for that food that is in front of you, and you might be able to just leave and not be a vampire anymore.
But for the rest of the episode and on into the extended show, we will now be concerning ourselves with the ones who do wish to exist beyond their second astral death and wish to keep their astral bodies and continue to feed on the life force of the living. My main source for this episode is A.W. Dre's Nox and Furnace, and it's a well-written, it's succinct grimoire for the mage looking to begin the vampiric path. As it says in the text, the first goal of the vampire is to move beyond nature. Dre says, "Remember, what we dark sorcerers refer to as the objective universe is the combined inertia of the common socio-perceptual agreements of the majority of human beings on Earth at a given point in time. This is a process that all grades of black magicians are engaged in, but one that the vampiric sorcerer is sworn to push to the ultimate extremes, creating and sustaining a second twilight field of reality within which to dwell safely, while further power is gained and continued development takes place. Each time the undead initiate experiences a new level of being, the second field is strengthened. The whole process may be likened to a descending spiral model, and as long as the sorcerer does not become overly enthralled and mesmerized by the intricacies of each new tunnel, then they will be capable of averting disaster. The true sorcerer knows that all magic is black, and that it is always geared towards self-willed evolution and personal fulfillment. There is no white magic, just the personal illusion that one is performing sorcery in a selfless manner for the good of others. Complete selfishness in disguise.
It's true. I completely agree.
I don't fully agree with it. I just think that white magic is exceptionally more rare than people like to think.
Well, I'm thinking Beyond the Abyss, where they're both mixed up. So it's true to say that there is no white and it's all black, but it's also true to say that, so it's all mixed at some point, that it all becomes one. So I think the vampiric art comes from just accepting one of them, which is a black aligned thing to do. And you live forever. I was disguising it as like, you live a good life so that other people willingly do this for you. How is that any different from just forcing them to do it, though? It's being done by somebody else, you know? So it is just in disguise.
Which brings us to the topic of ghouls, because vampires traditionally have somebody like Tom Waits to help them while they're sleeping in their coffin all day long. They need somebody to go out and pay the bills, walk the dog, scrub the floors, get
All
new...
the masters.
Yeah.
If you're a single goth mommy, I'll be your ghoul.
Oh, man.
Just saying. Anyway, horny Joe, I go. Like with Tom Waits.
Bonk.
Ghouls also pop out in Vampire the Masquerade. It's funny seeing people, they're like, yeah, this is my ghoul, I fuck it. It's like, okay. Like, it's morally fucked up in the game for a lot of people. You could have like a mom that's a ghoul, and it's like your mom has to do whatever your dad says magically. It's like, you want to kill your dad, don't you? Let's go do it. Like, it's kind of like what you do in the game. Basically, your dad turned you a vampire? Yeah, let's go kill him. Ghouls, they rely on their sire or the vampire's blood. And if they do it for like 1,000 years and then they go like a month without blood, they just evaporate.
The ghouls?
Yeah, like the vampire could just deny them vampiric, because some of the orders, they're like, no, you have to be a ghoul until you put in your work and you go on vampire missions, and then we think you're worthy, and then we'll put you in a certain like class. And it's like fuck.
Fuck you, Renfield. No flies for you.
That whole time you have no control over that, like, because you're drinking vampire blood and you're just doing whatever they say, and they're just like, well, little ghoul, like, if you pass the test, like, for 1,000 years I'll make you a vampire. And you're just like, okay, fucked up. And then your vampire can get killed and you just evaporate because you don't have their blood anymore. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Nox Infernus, on the topic of real life ghouls, says, what is the purpose of this bond? For one, a true vampiric sorcerer is most wise to employ the help of a ghoul in order to have the servant and protector during the daylight hours, when the vampires at their weakest, and sleeping inside their coffin. The ghoul will be able to do all the necessary work that the sorcerer needs done during the daylight, as well as keep a constant vigil over the sorcerer's abode and resting self. A good ghoul will be capable of making things appear as if the vampire actually has a dayside identity, acting in the place of its vampiric master. After the initial energetic connection between the ghoul and its master has been established, ritual sorceries will need to be employed to further strengthen their bond and give the vampire the type of magical dominance they will need to create a successful and lasting relationship. You have to be really powerful to have this abusive relationship last.
Sounds right.
The ghoul need to periodically take part in consuming small quantity of their master's blood in a ceremonial setting. The ritual for nourishing one's servant will follow, but all the details of this act are basically geared towards setting up the energetic currents of a slave and master relationship.
Yay. That sounds awful.
S&M. Hot.
It's a little bit like having employees. It's like, if you're a manager at a store, you're probably a vampire. I think some managers actually have a coffin at their workplace to sleep in. You know they do.
My old manager did. Thank God I'm not working for that vampire anymore.
Used to be back in the day, you'd have your store on the first floor and then an apartment on the top floor where the owner would live.
Would you like to hear about sex with vampires?
Yes.
Sexual union between ghoul and vampiric sorcerer is desired only if the vampire is skilled with sexual magic. So it's assumed that the person who wants to become a vampire has already done all the mage stuff and learned all the secrets. They can use it to some extent.
Makes
So
sense.
no virgins, no virgin vampires, please.
You really can't just be like, oh, I'm a vampire now. You have to pick a proper path and get good at it first and then choose the dark side. You can't just, oh, I'm a sex magician now. The sexual union can be as intimate as is desired. However, it is important for the sorcerer to make conscious effort at sharing only a small portion of their energy and avoiding being unnecessarily drained.
So they just make the other person do all the work.
What is that what it means?
Yeah, probably.
That's stupid.
So lame.
That doesn't tire you out. That's ridiculous.
Exactly. You're sapping the other person's power.
I would think you. It's this kind of is like Shiva and is it Parvati of him? He's just like the masculine, but taking the passive role, and then the girl is on top of him taking the active role, flipping the.
I'm just gonna lay here because I'm a vampire.
It's
I'm
totally
because I'm
tiring.
meditating. I have to maintain this boner because I'm dead and my heart is not beating. So I have to like think about the blood flow.
I have to just lay here really still. Like you do all the work.
So vampires have constant whiskey dick?
No.
So what's the best way to have vampire sex?
Sexual union between a vampire and servant is best done through anal copulation
Ooh, you.
and with the proper use of the corresponding clipothic tunnel energies.
Hold on. So hold on. So not only do they have to do all the work, but they have to do all the work they're doing it anal as well. So you're making the person who's receiving it do it anally and do all the work.
And they have to listen to you yammer at them incomprehensibly about stuff you didn't understand from your Kenneth Anger book
Yeah,
that cost
they're
you
like,
$300 on Amazon.
This tunnel's for this, and I'm going to show you how to use the tunnel for that.
Just yammering about kalas like you.
Good
Some
lord.
vampire in a bar. Like, let me
Just
show you how to use
laying-
the tunnels.
Just laying there, vibrating like demon names.
Oi, 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 this is the purple tunnel. Oi, 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 call us. Oi, oi.
Oh lord.
Did you come?
No. I think the reason, if you go through the back door, it's a little easier to keep boner.
Tunnels of set.
It's very, very tight tunnels of set.
I hope Kenneth Anger has read Dox and Furnace.
I mean, the muscles help keep it, able to keep going. Jesus
I hope
Christ.
he's a energy vampire and he's reading these notes.
Yeah, the vampire is going to be like, oh God, I have to actually do this.
It says here you have to take it in the butt. Okay.
I'm down. I'm just
So
like,
if you were wondering where it said that. It says
I
it
wish
here.
they could keep it up. That would be nice.
Anal copulation in itself energetically symbolizes
I'm a black magician.
Don't ask what the black is about. It's just there.
Black magician or brown magician?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's great.
My cheeks hurt.
I know, me too.
I'm glad we're finishing the free show on this.
On this brown note.
Anal copulation in itself energetically symbolizes the descent of the black magician into the tunnels of their existence on the night side of the Tree of Life. The sexual energy here is directed at nurturing the sorcerer and the Ghul's shadow substance, rather than directing it toward the human tendency to procreation.
It's all about wasting that seed.
In the butt dumpster.
To be fair, your butthole grows first when you're an embryo, right? Like,
I thought that was the heart.
No, it's before you have genitals, you get a butthole. Everybody has a butthole
it's part of being a tube, being a long tube.
that ingests things.
So
Oh, Lord.
there is some occult truth to butt stuff being going back to the source. It's just
I totally see it. It's just this book.
The magical formula of anal copulation is that of the will by the black magician extended into the abyss. It mirrors the act of creation for the purposes of the self
rather than for the bettering of the species. Oh.
You said into the abyss.
There. I mean, it really does make sense, though.
Yeah, no, in all seriousness, yes, it does, but it's still funny.
And if you'd like to hear about becoming an immortal spirit, how vampires should sleep, the Egyptian anatomy of the soul, the shadow soul,
The whole other half of the show,
Is there more butt stuff?
maybe.
There's how
Yeah,
vampires
actually,
feed.
No, there's definitely butt stuff.
Oh, yeah.
If that's what you're into, we got more of it.
There's How Vampires Feed. It's a whole thing. So if you liked the show and you want to hear the rest, please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will get you access to our entire library of extended shows, the entire second half of them.
And
You're missing out if you're not.
It feeds my butt.
Like all of it can fit in a tunnel, just saying.
Is it like a bag of holding, but it's like a butt of holding?
I'll send you a sticker of sticking, and you'll get the secret keys to our Discord server, where you can talk about this wackety schmackety stuff at any time, day or night, whether you're in your coffin or not. Thank you, everybody. Eat carrots and shoot lasers.